Okay, so this is my first YouTube video, and luckily this cat never wants to snuggle with me, and she's with me, so maybe that's good luck because I'm a little nervous. So I really wanted our first YouTube video to be about our journey, what led us to even creating a YouTube video, and just kind of start from the very beginning, because just throughout this whole journey, I mean, it's been really, really hard. And it's been really hard for a lot of reasons. I mean, no one prepares you for this. Like, no one prepares you for these tough conversations that happen when you're experiencing infertility. And I don't even know if you can be prepared for it. So it's really, really isolating, and it's hard. It's hard. And it makes it harder that not a lot of people talk about it. And I hate that, because this happens to a lot of couples. It's not rare, it's common, and it's something that we should never be ashamed to talk about and to express how we're feeling about it. So really, my goal with this is to just bring awareness to infertility and all of the emotions and everything that comes along with that. So yeah, I wonder if I can get this where you can see my cat. Maybe if I put her on a pillow, because I really think that you should be able to see my cat, honestly. I mean, oh my God. Okay, so our story really begins in June of 2019 when me and my husband got married. I was on the depot shot, which, if you don't know what that is, it's a birth control that you get injections of every 3 months. And honestly, it's pretty hardcore. I never had a period, and I loved it. I loved it. I loved not having a period. It was like the perfect birth control for me. So I had read that it takes 12 to 18 months for it to get out of a lot of women's system and for you to be able to become pregnant. So I actually got off of my birth control pretty soon after we got married in November of 2019, and my period came pretty quickly after I got off of it, maybe just a couple of months, and I had a completely normal, regular period. And we weren't necessarily trying to have a baby, but we were like, if it happens, it happens, you know, like we're prepared for it. So, you know, let's just not worry about it. See what happens, you know. Make it a surprise, I guess. So I started taking ovulation tests and never really had a positive ovulation test ever. I just took a second ovulation test. If this one's positive, then I feel good. Okay, so let's try this again. Doing another ovulation test. Not looking like it's gonna be positive. Just another negative. And I mean, every month I wasn't getting pregnant. So I thought that it was me. I thought that I was the problem. So I made an appointment with my OBGYN, and she wanted to monitor a couple of my cycles, check my hormone levels, check my follicle count. I can never say that word. And just monitor, make sure that everything with me is good. And I went through 2 or 3 months of that, and everything was good. My hormone levels were always good, and there wasn't really anything super concerning. But since I wasn't getting pregnant, she thought that I may not be ovulating. And sometimes I didn't have big enough follicles to ovulate, so we thought that the issue was me. So I ended up going on Clomid, which is a fertility drug, and it is also pretty freaking hardcore. I went crazy on it. It was like my own personal hell when I was taking Clomid, and I hated it. But when I found out that I was going to be taking Clomid, I was so excited, because one, we thought it was our chance to have a baby. And we were so excited. We were over the moon. And I was on Clomid for 3 or 4 months maybe, and I never got pregnant. Every cycle, I was taking ovulation tests. I was going the whole 9 yards. I was drinking red raspberry leaf tea because I read that that's supposed to help you ovulate. I was drinking like 3 cups of that a day, chugging water, eating just extremely healthy, which I should be doing anyways, but I was eating really healthy. I stopped drinking alcohol, and I love wine. I didn't drink. It was it was stressful. It was really, really stressful. I was eating so many sweet potatoes because sweet potatoes are supposed to make you more fertile. I don't know. So I literally ate so many sweet potatoes that I think I was smelling like a sweet potato. And I wasn't getting pregnant. I was not getting pregnant. And it just made no sense to me. So every month that I wasn't getting pregnant on Clomid, I started asking my doctor to test my husband. And there was always kind of a reason or an excuse not to test him. And it got really, really frustrating to the point where my husband was calling local clinics to ask if they do semen analysis. And the answer was always no, and we didn't know a urologist to go to, but it was really weird to me because my doctor could easily just write a referral and he could have gotten tested anywhere. He just needed a referral that my doctor wouldn't write. So that was really frustrating. And then after about 4 months on Clomid, we knew that wasn't going to work for us. And my doctor decided to refer us to a fertility specialist in Nashville, Tennessee. So our first appointment there was in May. And we were really, really excited to go there. And we were thinking that we were finally going to get answers. And I'm thinking, I'm broken, my body is built and meant to carry a child and grow organs, and why is that not happening? I want to know. And I just felt like such a failure as a wife, and I know that I shouldn't feel that way, and I'm not a failure as a wife, but these are just feelings that just were going through my head. I mean, there's a million thoughts going through my head, and it's really, really hard to be positive. So when the doctor called my husband with his results, it was heartbreaking. It really flipped our world upside down because we found out that we have a severe case of male factor infertility. And for the past almost 2 years, we've been focusing on me when it had nothing to do with me ever. I had further testing done. I'm ovulating. I am fertile myrtle. I'm good. So I spent all this time thinking it was me when it's my husband, and it's really severe. So he has a condition called varicocele. It's a grade 3, which means the vein somewhere has ruptured and it causes an extremely low sperm count. So they really look for a man to have over 20 million. I mean, there are some people who have like over 100 million sperm, and my husband only has 1 million. So it's pretty severe, and we were told that we would never be able to conceive on our own, that we would never be able to conceive naturally. That moment, hearing those words, was absolutely, just devastating. Like, no one can prepare you for that. We've been like going through a grieving process because, what the heck? Like, that's just some crazy stuff to hear, honestly. So my husband, bless his heart, he was just heartbroken, and just so was I, and it was just awful. So he was referred to a reproductive urologist where he got his final diagnosis and was told that if he had the surgery, that IUI would be an option for us. And IUI is, not super expensive. It's not very invasive, and it doesn't take a whole lot of time. So we were really excited to have that option. And I made an appointment back with my fertility specialist, and our success rate with IUI is extremely low because of the low sperm count. So it's around like 10%. And me and my husband talked, and every month when you are trying to have a baby and you're not getting pregnant, every month is just so hard. And when cycle day 1 starts, the dreaded cycle day 1, when that bad boy comes on, the day you start your period, I mean, you're a ball of emotions. You're just so sad. I don't even know how else to describe it, because you're not pregnant again. And I don't want to experience that again. We experienced it all this time now, and I don't want to ever feel what I felt then again, ever. So, we have the option to do IUI, but what's the point when we only have like a 10% success rate, when it's probably not going to happen, and we're going to already have to have the conversation of moving forward with IVF. So we decided to move forward with IVF. And IVF, if you're not familiar with what it is very invasive, very advanced, very expensive. It's a lot. It's very time consuming. It's a lot. It's like a 2-month process altogether, because I have to have an egg retrieval surgery where they put me under anesthesia and shove this like needle suction cup thing up me and suction out eggs, and then make an embryo. It's like a test tube baby, and then they put the embryo inside of me, and it's all together around like $13,000. Everywhere's different. With our clinic, it's around $10,000 to like $13,000 or $14,000. So it's incredibly expensive, but we have a super high success rate. So we're almost like guaranteed that it will work. So for me, I would absolutely rather spend the money on IVF and be guaranteed a pregnancy than try to save money doing, something that's less expensive and less invasive, but then facing this heartbreak that we've been dealing with for 2 years now. Emotionally, we can't do it, and we don't want to do it. This whole journey has been crazy. It has been an emotional freaking roller coaster, and it was really, really hard to talk about. We didn't even tell our family that we were trying for a baby in the beginning, because we wanted to keep it private. And then the more obstacles that we started running into, we started thinking, why are we keeping this to ourselves? Like, surely there are other people going through this, and we really want a support system. So the biggest thing for me on why we really want to talk about this is because it's such an isolating, lonely journey, and it doesn't have to be. My goal is to really just be open and honest about everything. How this has affected our finances, how this has affected our marriage, how this has affected our life. I mean, it's been a lot, and it's been hard to handle, and there's definitely been some rocky moments. But all in all, after all this time, and after all these things have happened, and after all this bad news, I feel like our marriage is stronger and better than ever. One, because we can relax. We don't have the stress of every month trying for a baby, because that's crazy. It's a lot. And we don't have that stress right now. So we can go through IVF, and sure, it's gonna be like a 2-month process, but then it'll be done. And we don't have to worry every month now, and I don't have to dread cycle day 1, because we know that we can't conceive naturally. We know that. We have that answer, and it's weird because it was devastating to hear that we can't conceive on our own ever. But at the same time, it was such a relief, because we can finally enjoy life and enjoy marriage. And this is a journey that we have been on since almost the beginning of our marriage. And I'm really excited to just spend some time enjoying life with my husband and not having to worry about cycle day 1, not having to worry about ovulation tests and eating sweet potatoes and drinking red raspberry leaf tea. I'm excited to relax and have fun.